our next episode, this is going to be about a dog ramp. I don't know if you ever looked for one before, but it's a very popular product and it's a very unique thing. We had no experience with this. And I really liked actually both of the ideas that Lorenzo shared. Unfortunately, because of the recording, his ideas are at the end of the show. So you're going to have to stick around and watch it. But I think you'll really like this episode. Have a good day. So guys, we're going to be talking about AlphaPod today. And we're looking at the desktop version of the product page just because it uses the real estate much better. And as you can kind of very quickly see through the image, this product is designed for pets so they can kind of climb up a ramp and get to a higher level item like a couch over here or a bed. And so they've got the features listed over here. They start off with a doctor testimonial, and then they kind of get into what the product does. I won't at all comment about the UI UX issues, but the basic point is they have tons of reviews. They've got a nice discount over here. They've got a description. And then you come here. I guess this specific model right now is unavailable, so there's a email sign up. And then here they have I do like this. It's a animated GIF that kind of tells you what the video is about. And then of course you click it and then they play the video. Then there's order now. So that is the product. And I'm going to now start talking about, so you can see over here how it's kind of climbing the couch. So the key point with them is that it's adjustable. I don't know why this happens, but it's adjustable. So if it's a bed, you can take it higher. If it's a couch, you can move it lower. And that's really the that's the benefit of it. What I noticed was that if you look at and I'm going to just talk about the top of the page because it's relevant to my first idea. So they kind of talk about vet recommended dog ramp. They show all the benefits, easy up and down with free shipping, money back guarantee. They've described the product over here, and it's really only over here. It's very lower on the page. Actually, they're talking about the conditions, senior dogs or dogs with issues. And so in my idea, I'm going to just jump into my idea. So I think that people are looking for a dog ramp for very specific use cases. And they either have a small dog or they have an aging dog or they have a dog that just came out of surgery. And we cannot expect them to kind of go through the first page and then maybe on the second page see a reflection of what the product is, who the product is designed for. So my opportunity here is that reflect back to the reader why they are here right away. So like I said, in the written description, this is way below the fold. And I want to kind of now I'm not going to tell you where to place this copy and how to place this copy. That's something you'll have to figure out. But the basic idea is that Paw Ramp was designed for small geriatric post-op operation pups with back issues and long body companions. What does your dog need help with? And so basically right up front, I'm asking the user to tell me like, okay, what has happened to your dog? So my buddy's too small to climb the bed, too small to climb the couch. Even though this product can do both, the person might have some very central use case. Like they may care more about the couch versus the bed. And so it's important for me to reflect back to them, even though materially it might not make a difference in the description. It's a very interesting data capture mechanism. Plus, it also allows me to personalize and emphasize. For example, if someone clicks couch, maybe the images in the page need to kind of show more couch climbing images and less bed climbing images. And maybe the copy needs to emphasize the couch more than the bed because the user has already told me that that's my use case, right? Because one of the challenge, and let me just explain here the logic here, right? So one of the challenges that we have as copywriters is that comes from the CEO. We have to address all use cases. So how do you write a sales pitch? Like, how do you make a movie where you're trying to also appeal to people who want to see a comedy movie, people who want to see a family movie, people who want to see an action movie? This is how you make bad movies, right? And what this is allowing us to do is two things. One is allowing us to actually collect data so we can actually go back to the CEO and say, listen, 85% of people prefer couch versus bed. You can't argue with once you have that data. But more importantly, you can now write copy that is not trying to balance 10 different use cases and focusing on a specific use case. So
there's one more reason why you want to collect that data, not just for pitch personalization, but also like imagine with that data, you can do so many things. So for example, I'll give you like, I'm going to throw 3 examples, right? So imagine you find that 90% of the people that land on the site or even buy the ramp, it's because their dogs just had surgery, right? Now, all of the sudden, this is a huge information, because now all of a sudden, what if you partner up with, the top vet clinics in the United States, and every time a dog gets a surgery, they pitch your product to their customers, right? This is just an example, but to me, that information feeds so many other decisions that the e-commerce brand can make.
I totally agree. The only note that I've made over here is that when you personalize the copy made on the selection, don't over personalize it. So I would like to, like, just as a normal conversation, it's like when you're talking to a salesperson and you tell the salesperson, I like flashy cars. And if he keeps on repeating the word flashy every 4 seconds, it just seems irritating. So mention it like 4 or 5 times if you in their sales pitch, but don't mention it like 20 times. Like, don't just keep on saying couch, 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 So that's my first idea. My second idea is, and again, I'm only going to talk about the mechanism. You will have to construct the most of the copy yourself. But what happened was that when I started researching the dog ramp, what's really important to understand about this product is that no matter how amazing the company claims their product is, it's a very simple product. It's a very simple wooden frame. It's shaped, it's got this ram shape, it's got these 3 adjustments, and it's a non-grip, it's a non-slip surface. I've gone through 20 product pages that are selling rams. They all have the exact same feature set, and they have greatly varied price points. And so it is inconceivable that someone who's coming to this page is not thinking like, hey, what's so special about this? I mean, it's a really simple product. I mean, reality is that it's a simple product. Now, it's a very important product, right? But it's a simple. So there's a very important rule in copywriting. When the product is complicated, make it sound simple. When it's simple, make it sound complicated. So I don't want, so what I've done is at strategic locations. So one is over here. The copy is going to say, aren't all ramps basically doing the same thing? This is probably a question that the user would have in their mind. Now, at 2 other locations, which I have not shown, I'm going to show 2 different links. One is going to say, what makes your ramp different? And the other one's going to say, here is why a ramp isn't just a ramp. So you're going to have to identify strategic locations on the page to include these. But what we are going to do is we're going to conditionally set these up so that if someone clicks on this link, then we'll hide these 2 links. If someone clicks on this link, we'll hide these other links. Now, one of the things that we're going to do, this is really important also, is that, and this is something that is critical, is that when someone clicks a link, it's very important for the opening line of the pop-up message or whatever it is that we're going to show next to essentially loop back to that content. So what I've done here is I have actually changed the opening, even though the content is the same in the pop-up. I've not written the content, by the way, but even though the content is going to be the same, I've actually personalized it. So I'm going to show you an example. So if someone clicks over here, what makes rams different, or aren't all rams basically doing the same thing? These are both questions. And you can have the opening of the sales pitch to start off with short answer, no. And then you can say, here's why, blah, blah, blah. One of the other things that I did was I actually, when I was doing research, I realized that there are 2 categories of these ramps. There are these indoor ramps, and then there are also these vehicle ramps that, and I think a lot of people, when they're doing research, they might have originally started the research looking for a ramp so that the dog can climb a bed. But then they go to Orvis's website and they're like, oh, wait a minute, this is a use case I never thought about. And oh, maybe that's actually even better. Now, the thing is that this alpha paw does not allow for those things. This is purely for indoor use. So one of the things that you have to do as a copywriter is you have to criticize other alternatives. So what I did was, so first of all, this is the copy, blah, blah, blah. And then over here, I'm actually including an image of a competitor's product, which we can't do this feature. And then I want to do, after this, showing the image, I want to actually first praise the product. Then I want to basically talk about the fact that why, for a very specific type of buyer, our product is better, right? So you want to acknowledge the competition, and then you want to talk about why it's better. Now, the other question that we had, the other link that we had was, here is why a ramp isn't a ramp. So here, the opening is going to be different. So the opening is going to say, in the first one, we saw the opening was short answer no. In the second one, the opening is, there are many ramps to choose from online, but there's a reason why ours was chosen 308,000 times. Here's the reason. And then again, same copy over here and then same Orbis thing over here. So the big idea here is that you want to make sure, don't just have multiple links that are saying different things and have all of them show the exact same content, because that creates a, for example, if the copy said, here is why a ramp isn't just a ramp, and the pop-up message said short answer no, that doesn't even make sense. That's not the answer. That's not relevant. So instead of rewriting the whole sales pitch, I'm only rewriting the opening. That's all that matters, and keep rest the same. Let me see if there's anything else. And then the final point I wanted to say was that at the bottom of that, put a feedback beacon so you can understand qualitatively if people are liking your ideas or not.
Can you quickly explain to people what a feedback beacon is?
Yeah. So the idea is that, when we do A/B testing, we are able to know if our ideas improved sales or not. But that's only thing we can measure, right? But I can't actually measure the sentiment of the reader. And I want to actually know the sentiment of the reader, because that actually gives me a lot of granularity. For example, if people really like the sales pitch, so we put the feedback buttons up and down at the bottom of the pop-up. And if people really like the sales pitch, but conversions didn't go up, maybe the problem is because our shipping threshold is too high, or maybe it's because, whatever, there's something else. But if they say they don't agree with our explanation, then I know specifically my sales pitch failed, and I can go in and I can rewrite just that part of the sales pitch.
Yeah, the way I think about this is also, it gives you a direction of what to do as an iteration for
Correct.
the next and following test, right?
That is correct. That is correct. So, all right, I am done.
Cool.
Over to you.
Yeah, so actually my ideas are kind of similar to yours in terms of like problem identification, but not as an execution, which is interesting. So let's talk about the first one, which I called make it easy to see more page content, right? So one thing that I would do here, I would definitely install a tool like Hotjar to see how much people are actually scrolling down. You showed the desktop variation, the desktop version, which is not the same as mobile, because obviously a mobile, it's much longer. And the length from top of the page until the section of where the product image are, where the price is even higher, right? So the main issues I found here is that the page is very long and doesn't show the product right away. Like here you can see it, but not like, okay, I want to see like all the different variation of the product images. People might not scroll all the way down where this section of the product is, right? Maybe just a small percentage of people do that. And in general, other page section are hidden in steep key drop down header. So for example, here, when I scroll down, I have this bar, which is sticky, and you have to click through it in order to basically jump down in each section of the page, right? So, but then again, it's not visible, and it also like, here it doesn't really stand out because it's on like kind of like gray sort of background, and all these options are hidden below a drop down. So my solution is, first of all, expose the drop-down elements, so all the elements hidden below the drop-down, make it more prominent, and change the copy of some page sections. So the way I did it is, here we have control without the drop-down, and control with the drop-down. And I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. My variation here, what I did was I showed all the different options in the drop-down, and I changed the color from white to orange. Yep. So whenever they scroll down, it's like super visible and prominent right away. And when people click on it, they can just go in each section of the page, basically.
Yeah, I like that.
So this is like a UX sort of like a idea. And the goal is to expose people to more sections of the page where there are sections that matter to the user in order to make a decision. So that's idea number one. The second idea is, I called it why a dog ramp is better than dog steps, stairs, and stools. So let's explain why I came up with this idea. So from reviews mining analysis that I've done, I actually learned that people have previously bought or they're considering buying dog steps, dog stairs, and stools. Right? I'll show you quickly the results of. They either have switched from those products, one of those products, or they're considering buying that product in that decision-making process, right? So they're facing that decision. Should I buy steps or should I buy a ramp, right? So now, in order to let the dog climb, so the goal is, the jobs to be done of this is, I need my dog who's either old or has surgery to jump on the bed or jump on the couch, right? But now we need to tell the user why the ramp is a better solution of what they're considering. You know, Rishi always talks about the fact that we are competing against the tab that the user has open in his browser. So that's exactly what we need to face. We need to tell the user why the ramp is a better solution than the other consideration that they're making. The problem is that in general, when I looked at like the entire page from the top to the bottom, they never mention why they're better than the steps, the ladder, and so on, right? So my solution to this is to tell the user why the ramp is a better solution than whatever they're considering, right? And I want to make sure that that is being mentioned as high as possible in the page, because I don't want to sell the concept of alpha point yet if they're not sold on the dog ramp, right?
Agreed.
So here's my solution to this. And you know, for those people that are watching our show for the first time, we should mention that Rishi and I are not designers. So if you want to hire us to make a website pretty, do not hire us. So here's what I added. I added a section, and again, this is just a wireframe. I added a section that says why a dog ramp is better for your dog den. And then I have the three main things that they mentioned in the reviews mining, which I would actually back up with additional kind of like data from a qualitative standpoint through surveys. And then they have there's a call to action that says discover why. And there is a specific reason why I use that discover, because again, it's like, of course I want to discover why. Of course, like it's very intentional, right? And then clicking on it opens up a model. But before I show you that model, what I would do is I would send a survey to all the customers that purchased the product in the last 24 hours. And I would ask two questions. The first question I would ask is, what alternative solution to a dog ramp have you considered buying? Second question, follow-up question is, what made you choose a dog ramp versus the alternative solution you've mentioned in the answer to the previous question, right? And then here's what the model looks like. And again, forgive me for my ugly design, but the model says why a dog ramp is better for your dog then, and then they have three options that they can select. I'm considering dog steps, so I don't care about the other one. So now I'm clicking on this one, and then I give you like reason number one, reason number two, reason number three, which are the reasons that I learned, right? People have mentioned in the survey that I sent out.
That's great. Yeah, I really like it. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, guys, if you got even like one tiny piece of value, doesn't matter if it's something that can be applied to your business. Again, we always talk about examples, but you have to think about first principle first. So if you ever got a little bit of value from this video, we would love for you to subscribe or just share it simply with other people in your team or other marketers and the CRO or entrepreneurs that you're connected to.
Yeah, and if you write a comment and you talk about, like, if you mention to us, like, specifically what was clear or what was unclear, or maybe even the because one of the things we're trying to do is we're trying to keep the show short and to the point. The downside of that is that Lorenzo wasn't able to show the reasons that he picked for things like that, right? So if you were to say, that's where we need help. Now keep in mind, we're not going to be able to spoon feed. We can't like treat this like an actual project because it doesn't make sense. But we definitely want to guide you guys in a way that makes sense. So let us know. So write a comment to us, and that's how we'll know what's working, what's not working. And we will see you again with yet another DTC brand in the next few days. Ciao.
Ciao.